What's up, Charger fans? Welcome back to another video. Last time I shared with you guys my draft grades, but today I want to turn our attention over to an article from the Bolt Beat, where they're going to share with us their draft grades along with one bold prediction for each player. So if that sounds nice to you, let's go. All right, today's article is brought to you by Jason Reed of the Bolt Beat, titled Grading Every Chargers 2025 Draft Pick with One Bold Prediction. Let's get into this. So they're giving Omarion Hampton an A here. The first round did not break in a favorable way for the Chargers, as several potential candidates were off the board by the time the Chargers were on the clock. This led the Chargers to consider a trade down, which reportedly fell through at the 11th hour because of communication issues. Some may say that is a bad sign for running back Omarion Hampton, but at the end of the day, the Chargers landed the best player available. Hampton was clearly the first round talent who was a lot closer to Ashton Jeanty than most fans realize. Hampton will be a great complementary back for Najee Harris, who should have no problem taking over as long-term bell cow back. In fact, Hampton may not even need to wait until Harris's one-year deal is over to be running back one. And the bold prediction here, Omarion Hampton quickly surpasses Najee Harris as running back one. I agree with this prediction. I do think Omarion Hampton is going to find himself as the running back one on this team, but I also think Najee Harris is going to find success. These guys are both going to complement each other very nicely. They're going to keep each other fresh, and they're going to be a problem for NFL defenses. All right, next up, we got Tre Harris with an A+. Drafting Tre Harris in the second round was the best pick of the entire draft for the Chargers. The Chargers stayed patient and let the draft board come to them and landed a wide receiver who should have an instant impact on the team. Harris has sure hands and legitimate contested catch ability that will make him a dynamic X receiver one day. Harris may not have the makeup to be a legitimate top-tier wide receiver one, but the Chargers don't need that with Ladd McConkey on the roster. I kind of beg to differ on that. Los Angeles drafted a perfect complement to Ladd McConkey for the long run, with McConkey getting a majority of the targets and the Chargers potentially bringing in another wide receiver still. Harris's rookie year numbers may not be huge, but volume-wise, his impact will be felt in the long run. Bold prediction, Tre Harris has a quieter rookie season before exploding in year two. I think that is reasonable and something we can expect from Tre Harris. The only thing I disagreed about the article was saying he doesn't have the makeup to be a wide receiver one. Yes, Ladd may always be the target merchant, but make no mistake, Tre Harris has big playmaking ability and his upside says different. So I just wanted to say that. All right, next they're giving our boy Jamaree Caldwell a C+. Taking defensive tackle Jamaree Caldwell in the third round certainly is not a bad pick. However, there is naturally less excitement in drafting a defensive tackle who may not get much playing time in his rookie season with a top 100 pick. This is not to say Caldwell won't blossom into an every down defensive tackle who has tangible impact on the defense. The potential is there if the Chargers can develop him. However, this is one of those picks where the Chargers had to make it. There is nothing wrong with that, even if it's less exciting. Bold prediction, Jamaree Caldwell plays then less than 50% of defensive snaps. I think a C+ is low. Jamaree Caldwell, when you look at his game in Houston, he was a little lighter and he had a little more to offer in the pass rush. And when he went to Oregon, they asked him to put on weight and take on the double teams. That was by design. That way it could free up Derek Harmon so he could become the pass rusher of the team. When you look at this guy's character, it's through the roof. He's got quick hands and the ability to be a good defensive tackle prospect. I'm not going to say I disagree with how many snaps he's going to take on the bold prediction, but I do think that a B is a deserving grade for Caldwell. Next, we have Kennard with a grade of an A. This may seem hyperbolic, and that is really easy to do with draft picks who have not played an NFL snap, but this might be the best value pick for the Chargers in the entire draft class. Kennard is a day two talent who somehow fell right into the Bolts' lap in the fourth round. The reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Year, joined exclusive company with South Carolina last season and led the entire SEC in sacks. Kennard is someone who doesn't just get pressure on the quarterback, but finishes with vicious intent. Kennard will be a rotational edge rusher in his rookie season, but will make the most out of his opportunities. If he can improve his run defense, he can be a true every down edge rusher. Bold prediction, Kennard has more sacks than Tuli Tuipulotu did in his rookie season. I like the bold prediction a lot. Tuli was able to get 4.5 sacks his rookie season. I think Kennard does have the makeup to surpass that. This is a guy who approaches his game where he's thinking outside the box. He's not going to come at you with just one move on the defensive line. He's coming with speed to power, inside moves, outside moves. He's going to bring a different look each time. And with that type of thinking and Khalil Mack taking probably the brunt of the double teams, I think Kennard has a way to get more than 4.5 sacks his rookie season. Next, we have KeAndre Lambert-Smith with a grade of a D-. This pick doesn't make much sense. KeAndre Lambert-Smith has game-breaking speed, but there is simply too many areas of needed improvement to guarantee him a spot on the Chargers' 53-man roster next season. Lambert-Smith seems to be a plan B option behind Darius Davis as a special teams gadget player. Using 5th-round draft capital to take a backup for a niche role is an interesting move that may not have made the most of the draft capital. It's easy to only look at the upside of Lambert-Smith. However, with how the Chargers roster is constructed, there is no guarantee he is even on the team in week 1. Bold prediction, DeAndre Lambert-Smith doesn't make the initial 53-man roster. Giving KeAndre Lambert-Smith a D- is a little crazy for me. I gave the player a B. A plan B option behind Darius Davis is a special teams gadget player. What are we talking about here? What we are talking about is a player who I had to eat humble pie on my evaluation process. I overlooked him as a player, and when the Chargers grabbed him, I ran it back and looked over things, and I was like, I was wrong. This kid's sick. We're talking about a player who caught over 50 catches, was just shy of 1,000 yards, and he had 8 touchdowns and was second team All-SEC as a wide receiver. And we're referring to him here as a gadget player behind Darius Davis? Absolutely not. A D- is way too low. All right, let's take a look at this wide receiver room. I think KeAndre Lambert-Smith is a better wide receiver than Luke Grimm, Dez Fitzpatrick, Jalen Johnson, Jalen Reagor, and a player who I graded last year. He's better than Brendan Rice. And I would say overall, he's better than Darius Davis as a wide receiver. I think Davis brings a lot of value as a kick returner, but I think you get more bang for your buck as a wide receiver with KeAndre Lambert-Smith. Players who are locks, Ladd McConkey, Mike Williams, I would argue Quentin Johnson, Tre Harris. Then I think it's anyone's fight from there. And I think KeAndre Lambert-Smith is going to be fighting for rotational snaps at the Z position, and he has the ability to line up anywhere. He is a good wide receiver. So to say he's not going to make the roster, I don't see your argument when you look at the rest of these players I listed off. I think he's going to handily beat these guys. So we'll see what happens this offseason. Next, we have Oronde Gadsden II with a grade of an A. This was a great pick on a multitude of levels for the Chargers. Not only did the Bolts land one of the better pass-catching tight ends in this draft class, but the team traded 2 picks it received essentially for free to do so. Oronde Gadsden may never be a starting tight end because of his blocking ability, but he has the potential to be dangerous pass-catching tight end in key spots. The only downside of this pick is that the Chargers could have just used the previous pick on him and used the extra draft capital in a different way. Bold prediction, Oronde Gadsden has more receiving touchdowns than Will Dissly. So bold of you. Well, I absolutely agree with this prediction. Moving on. Next, we have Branson Taylor with a grade of B-, a depth offensive lineman with versatility in the 6th round. There is absolutely nothing to complain about here, even if the selection doesn't end up amounting to anything. Branson Taylor played tackle for Pitt, but projects to play at guard at the NFL level. Branson may have a chance at the starting left guard role if Zion Johnson plays center, and at the very least provides versatility depth for the next 4 years. That being said, in a perfect world, the Chargers won't need to use Taylor at all in his rookie season. That would indicate that the offensive line is healthy and firing on all cylinders. Bold prediction, Branson Taylor doesn't play at all on offense, is a healthy scratch most weeks. I would agree with that. I think that that's certainly reasonable. Next, we have RJ Mickens with a grade of C+. This is the stage of the draft where the Chargers are looking for cost-controlled depth with pieces that can contribute on special teams. That is exactly the reason why the Chargers took safety RJ Mickens in the 6th round. Mickens shouldn't get much playing time on defense as he looks to carve out a role in Ryan Ficken's special teams unit. Mickens is already saying all the right things and could quickly become a fan favorite because of his impact on the third side of the ball. Bold prediction, RJ Mickens records 20 combined tackles. I think that is a reasonable bold prediction, but a C+ I think is a little low considering the value of where we got him. I think in the 6th round, RJ Mickens is a total steal. Don't take it from me. Listen to what everyone else has to say.
On safety, RJ Mickens out of Clemson, wildly underrated. A big safety that can run, can cover a little bit. I look at that. I couldn't believe. I was higher on him than a lot of people. I understand that. I couldn't believe he lasted that long. End of the 6th to get RJ Mickens.
And then my favorite pick in terms of value, because they got 107 positive spots out of it from my board, was RJ Mickens. I think RJ Mickens is a starter at the next level. He's smart. He's athletic. He's got good length. He comes to balance as a tackler. He just does NFL bloodlines, plays the exact right way you want from the safety position, disciplined. I think RJ Mickens will look back and go, why did that guy go in the 6th round when he gets an extension in 3 years?
So yeah, C+, I think, is a little low. Go ahead and give Mickens a B. All right, we've made it to our last pick here. We got Trikweze Bridges with a grade of a C. Everything that was written about Mickens can also be written about Trikweze Bridges. However, the second to last pick in the 2025 NFL Draft does not appear to have as much potential on special teams right away, which will limit his chances. The Chargers will almost certainly want to keep Bridges around in some capacity. However, as a late 7th round pick, the chances of Bridges actually making the 53-man roster are fairly slim. Bold prediction: Trikweze Bridges misses the initial 53-man roster, is re-signed practice squad. I think that that's possible, but I do think that this kid brings the frame and the physicality that the secondary is kind of missing. Jesse Minter was previously on Chargers Weekly where he said he would like to play more man-to-man, and I think Bridges really fits the mold there, so we'll see what this kid can do as far as competing to get on the roster. All right, Charger fans, that's going to conclude the video. Those are the grades from the Bolt Beat along with their bold predictions. I certainly had a problem with them doing KeAndre Lambert-Smith dirty with the D- grade. We don't see eye to eye there. But with that said, I would love to know what you guys think in the comments. I'm Andrew with Boltcasa, and until next time, remember to bolt up. Peace.